Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero. Round 1, fight. Round 1, fight.
Another day, another comparison. With the first video in this series comparing our favorite undead ninja, it's about time I cover his most known rival, Sub-Zero. Debuting along with the other classic characters in 1992, the Cryomancer is as iconic as Scorpion if not more. Since it wouldn't be a Mortal Kombat game without Sub-Z, he is a part of the main roster in both of their most recent installments. What is different and what is similar? That's what I'm here to answer today. Before I get too far, I'd like to remind you to subscribe if you enjoy the content. I would appreciate it a lot, and help support the channel. It's free, you can always change your mind. Without further ado, let's begin with the story Sub-Zero has in Mortal Kombat 11.
Your hearing is failing, Sub-Zero.
Following the second timeline established in MK9, the mantle of Sub-Zero has fallen upon Kuai Liang, while his older brother Bi-Han has been relegated to Noob Saibot. Either way, Sub-Zero and his Lin Kuei have an alliance with Scorpion and his Shirai Ryu. Both Grandmasters team up to secure the timeline and defend Earthrealm. When the time merger happens, past Sub-Zero is not pulled into the mix, most likely because Bi-Han is already Noob Saibot. Either way, this mix-up of time causes the old Cyber Lin Kuei factories to be reinstated. In order to shut them down, Sub-Zero and Scorpion enlist the help of their old friend Cyrax. Under the promise of restoring Cyrax, he shuts down the production line. Soon after, the trio are interrupted by Saibot and Frost. Due to their loyalty to Kronika, they are determined to kill Sub-Zero. Depending on your choice, these jobbers get their asses handed to them by either Kuai Liang or Hanzo Hasashi. The next time the duo are seen in the story is when they plan to use Charon's fleet to transport their allies. By Scorpion's request, Sub-Zero returns to the Shirai Ryu Fire Garden to defend it. He waits the return of his bro and is surprised by the return of a different Scrop. Suspecting this one is up to no good, the two clash. Since we play as Scorpion, Sub-Zero has to lose. He's in the background of this mini Liu Kang and Raiden scuffle before being frozen in time by Kronika. Once this yap sesh concludes, Sub-Zero accompanies the others to the raid on Kronika's keep. Since she starts messing with time during her fight with Liu Kang, Kuai Liang's ultimate fate is left unknown. His only appearance in the Aftermath DLC is the same scene in the Fire Garden. He gets his ass beat again, gets frozen in time, and runs off with a team to raid Kronika's keep. In Sub-Zero's tower ending, Kuai Liang uses the sands of time to understand and deconstruct Bi-Han's corruption. In this perfect timeline, their brothers command the Lin Kuei together in the name of defending Earthrealm. While not a major character in the story, Sub-Zero still adds to the plot. We can now get into what Bi-Han was doing in MK1.
Finally, we face a worthy foe. Victory will bring us glory.
Glory? We fight for duty.
With the previous timeline being thrown into the garbage, the Sub-Zero of this world falls back onto Bi-Han. With his usual angst and edge, he is the Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei. He has his brothers Kuai Liang and Tomas Verbrata advise him, though in the end he usually makes his decisions on his own intuition. Under Fire God Liu Kang's command, Bi-Han and his clan defend Earthrealm. The first time they're seen in the story are when the Lin Kuei act as regular thugs and pretend to rob Madame Bose. Once Raiden and Kung Lao successfully defend themselves, Liu Kang reveals this was all a test to make sure the duo are ready for their new assignment, fighting for Earthrealm in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Bi-Han and the boys once again go to recruit more champions, arriving in Malibu, California. Johnny Cage thinks this is all some big prank, but an ass beating later leaves him with the conclusion that this is all real. The Lin Kuei is then left to defend Earthrealm while Liu Kang and the champions go off to participate in the tournament. The next assignment from the Fire God comes in the form of a raid, more specifically a raid on Shang Tsung's fortress. From here, Bi-Han grows more distant from his brothers. He claims that the Lin Kuei should rule Earthrealm instead of simply defending it. Concerned, his brothers remind him of their father's teachings. Keep this in mind for later. Once Sub-Z throws some hands and defeats the goons, he and Scrop are captured by General Shao's forces. Here, Shang Tsung convinces Bi-Han of his greater potential by showing him the dragon army he could lead. Bi-Han agrees, much to the dismay of Scorpion. Here it is revealed that Sub-Zero let his father die so he could become Grandmaster. This destroys the bond between the brothers, forcing them to face off. Sub-Zero loses and is presumably imprisoned to prevent him from helping the Deadly Alliance. During the final fight, this exact version of Bi-Han doesn't join either side, but alternate versions of him join both teams. He can even be chosen as your combatant against Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. In the end, Liu Kang does the same teleport save. Once home in the Fire God timeline, it is revealed that Kuai Liang and Tomas have defected and created their own clan to replace the Lin Kuei. Sub-Zero's tower ending reveals Bi-Han plans to take over large areas of territory, but that requires soldiers. Instead of the dragon army, which is powered by magic, Sector suggests scientific methods. This of course teases the return of the Cyber Lin Kuei. Kameo Sub-Zero doesn't have much story, but from what we can infer, this is also Bi-Han. The lack of an eye scar means this is is not Kuai Liang. This would also fit within the other cameos, as Kuai Liang did not become Sub-Zero until Mortal Kombat 2. Even then, Kuai Liang was using the name Tundra. So Kameo and Rasta Sub-Zero are the same person. That's the newest plot Bi-Han was a part of, so let's get into what the cosmetic side of the Frozen Ninja looked like. Back on the old 11, Sub-Zero has the usual 6 skins with 8 color variations each. That's a number I made up, but it's close enough. There are armored skins and ones where the only thing he's rocking are the robes. There are these unique shredder looking skins which look nice and are intimidating. The classic skins are my favorite as these skins are just gorgeous. But the unique outfit is the Dimitri Vegas skin. Now I know what everyone's gonna say.
Then we may both die today.
Yeah, this voice acting is not good at all, but I'm sure it's hard recording good voice lines while making the game soundtrack and not having English as your first language. Vegas is Belgian. Still, I do like the glow trim around Sub-Zero's robes. It adds to the fact that Vegas is a DJ. The customizable gear here is similar to Scorpion, as it's the mask, ice axe, and mini daggers. I don't know if Sub-Zero ever uses these in game, but they're cool nonetheless. The masks are all mostly the same, with the only variations adding glow effects or weird noses. The axes have the most customizability, as you can choose the shape of the blade and even have dual blades. Overall, very nice. Let's see Bi-Han's outfits. Now my Sub-Zero is liking in this game. From what I have, he looks cool. So far I have 2 skins with about 5 color palettes. The second one I got from the seasonal store and it's pretty dope. The vampire look fits Bi-Han. It matches his quick remarks. The color palettes are nice, but I only like these 2. The white one is fine, but it's a little too bright. This one is straight cheeks. Other than that, the masks are customizable. They are pretty dope as well. But that's it for my custom parts. There's a lot more customization available, as you can get the Deadly Alliance skin for Sub-Zero. This looks sick. The other vampiric looks are also available and add more to Sub-Z. My favorite skin that I never buy is this one celebrating Day of the Dead. I have Scorpion's version that looks badass and funny at the same time. Oh well. Bi-Han has a lot of customization here that I don't own, but I'm sure by grinding out invasions I'll get it. With this out of the way, let's get into the real meat of this video. While older in this installment, he still hasn't lost any of his skills from the previous adventures. Well, he hasn't lost most of his abilities. Ice Clone was unfortunately left in MKX, or at least a special version, as he will do it in victory screens. Anyway, Sub-Zero keeps the usual 3-hit combos, though he has much less than other characters. Only 3 are available, while the rest of the combos are 2 pieces or less complex versions of the 3-hit one. It does get repetitive playing after a while as you redo the same 4 moves over and over again. He does have 2 grabs that can be useful. The forward grab is a law-defying one that involves throwing your enemy into a floating roof. The back throw is similar, with Sub using his axes to stun them and then kicking them back. There's a chance this can be a crushing blow, annihilating their ribs, but that's about it. This leaves Sub-Zero to rely more on his special moves. The classic ice ball stays with another special move, allowing you to amplify the projectile. I'm pretty sure it allows the ice ball to absorb other ranged moves and it fires quicker than the normal one. The next move is a slide that allows you to trip the opponent. Amplified, you grab them and chuck them into another ice wall. Similar to this, Cold Shoulder is a slide, but instead of tripping, Sub-Zero bashes the enemy with a shield. Amplified, Sub-Zero whips out ice axes to start hacking and slashing. The final move out of this set is a Frigid Storm move, where Kuai Liang will form an ice wall that is shot towards the opponent. This cannot be amplified. Creeping Ice is a burst that shoots spikes out of the ground right into the enemy's shins. Amplified, an extra burst is added. The move Ground Ice is similar, but instead of a burst, a steady ice beam that shoots into the opponent's feet. That will struggle, allowing you to attack. Amplified, the ice is harder to break out of. Similar to these trap-like moves, Arctic Trap is a move that leaves a mini orb when touched, automatically freezes the opponent. This move cannot be amplified. Death Sickle Barrage is another range attack where Sub-Z will fire out mini icicles. This move also cannot be amplified. The next move is a mixture of 2 moves, as Polar Axe is a ranged aerial attack. Kuai Liang will jump and toss a frozen axe towards the opponent. No amplification is available. The final special move is Rising Ice, a jumping move that shoots ice spikes out of the formed pillar. Amplified, it adds more damage so the enemy is hit up higher. This is all the special moves available for Sub-Zero to use, but there is still one more move we need to cover. The Fatal Blow that sometimes proves not to be fatal. Kuai Liang starts it off with 2 stabs to the side with his ice axes, immediately freezing the spilling blood. From here, he uses another frozen axe to stab their temple, freezing that blood as well. Sub-Zero, being the dramatic guy he is, flips him around and slams the enemy back into the ground. I'm guessing overkill and sassiness run through the family. Since this is the only Sub-Zero available in the game, we can now move on to the newest version of our favorite ninja. Or favorite Cryomancer ninja. Scorpion is still better. Since Sub-Zero does as much damage as me throwing a snowball at a brick wall expecting it to break, his combos are the biggest crutch he has. These combos are composed of heavy and light punches / kicks. The heavy attacks can stagger your opponent. The usual 3-hit combos are here with some fancy ice effects. They do mediocre damage but can be strong when used together. But other than these 3 major inputs, he has simple 2 pieces, double kicks, and ice attacks. He has a few sweet moves too, so you can make Scorpion fall on his ass for his betrayal. But the best move Sub-Z has is his overhead skull bash, which sends him in the air. At this point, they're free game for aerial attacks. As per usual, there are 2 main aerial combos. For Sub-Zero, it's up triangle 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 or up square XO. Translate these for whatever controller you're using. He also has simple aerial 2 pieces as well. The best one is this slam that can be used to juggle your opponent. This is the best aerial combo I came up with. Before I forget, Sub-Zero has 2 grabs that can be used to throw around your opponent. The first is a solo move where he freezes you, then knocks some sense into you with the same skull mace. The next grab is a Kameo assisted grab, which means our friend Sub-2 freezes their legs and hits him with a classic kick. While these combos are vastly different than MK11, most of the special moves are actually the same. Ice Ball stays allowing Sub to freeze the opponent in their tracks. Enhanced it does something, I'm sure. I think it freezes them for a little longer. Ice Slide stays, this time utilizing an Ice Spear that gives the end an extra hit. Enhanced it becomes a trip that sends up the enemy. You can probably use this to start an aerial combo, but I haven't tried. This move called Deadly Vapors mimics Scorpion's Devouring Flame, this time slowing the opponent down a bit. Enhanced it'll slow them down further. Ice Clone makes a return from MKX, sporting the same freezing ability. Enhanced he drops 3 Ice Clones, meaning if you hit one, you get sent up the track, ending with a freeze. The final special ability is an aerial kick called Diving Glacier, mimicking Kung Lao's kick in MK11. Enhanced it becomes an Ice Slam that sends up your enemy in the air. From here, you can use some of these aerial moves. I'll say all these moves can be useful, but only when utilized properly. Like using Deadly Vapor wrong just slows down Baraka for like 1 second before he just kicks your ass. The move I like to use is this Ice Slide. It does good damage and has a chance to push through a block. The best combo is the Juggle aerial combo I talked about earlier. Since Sub-Zero is also a Kameo in this game, that means we have a few more moves to look at. He has 2 defensive and 1 offensive. The defensive move is an Ice Shield that gives you some armor. This ice armor doesn't last very long, so use it wisely. The offensive moves are Shoulder Bash and an Ice Explosion. The Shoulder Bash does good damage with mediocre range. The Ice Explosion reminds me of Baraka's Spine Burst from MK11. I'm sure this move is useful for those spam jump kickers. The 2 Subs combine their abilities to do this fatal blow. Sub Kameo starts it off with some icicle stabs and a headbutt. This allows Bihan to come in with an Ice Slide that impales the poor guy, which keeps them still for this brutal hammer attack. To celebrate, Bihan hits a Cha-Cha Slide. That's all the technical jargon done, so let's move on to the real fun stuff.
Finish him.
With the powers to bend the cold to your will, you think Sub-Zero pulls out all the stops to make sure he finishes the fight with as much flair as possible. Well, that is half true. Let's go over the fatalities then discuss. The first fatality involves freezing your opponent to an ice block, leaving their head exposed. From here, Sub decapitates them and blows up their head using ice. A very clean, quick execution. The next fatality is sort of similar. This time they are impaled on an Ice Clone Spear. From here, Sub-Zero punches into their torso and rips out their spinal cord. Still attached to the head, it is then impaled onto the spear as well. Out of the 2 fatalities, this one is definitely the best. Sub-Zero's friendship adds context to a joke told by Johnny Cage.
Grandmaster Blueberry Ice.
The happy Kuai Liang runs off to get his cart and serve frozen delights. How adorable. Notice how Scorpion also melts his ice cream. Anyway, most of the brutalities involve these special moves in one way or another. The grab brutalities are one of the few exceptions, like this one where he slams them into an ice wall and decapitates them with a frozen axe. This leaves the rest of the corpse only able to slide down. The forward grab brutality bends the laws of physics a bit, as it involves a floating spiked ice trap, an impaled enemy, and dripping blood. The ice ball move leads to an upper body explosion with the lower half frozen in place. Simple and effective. This run kick maneuver leads to Sub-Zero kicking off the opponent's shins. They'll crawl to the missing parts before passing out from the disrespect. Ice Slide leads into my favorite brutality, this simple bisection. Just gruesome. The next brutality starts off with a simple attack but leads to the Jax treatment. This flying axe move leads into a headshot, and Sub-Zero is quite proud of himself for that one. The creeping ice move was always an underpowered move, but this brutality is definitely not that. Impaled straight up the ass. They're even squirting. Wait, pause. As Sub-Zero freezes them in this one, they go out like Dipper. To add salt to the wound, the opponent tips over and shatters. This brutality is an interesting one, as it breaks the 4th wall while also breaking the opponent's skull. If anything, I'd expect this from Johnny Cage. To end off with the classic, yup, the head can still be punched off. It seems like most of the brutalities come out of combos instead of special moves. While so gruesome, it's an interesting take. Well done in Mortal Kombat 11, Sub-Zero does not stop, no, cannot stop with his ice fatalities.
Finish him.
There are more fatalities here in the newer timeline due to the 2 versions of Sub-Zero in game. We'll begin with the playable version. This fatality starts off with a flying icicle boomerang that leaves a cut in the opponent's torso. From here, Bi-Han kicks their upper half around so that the blade stabs him right in their forehead. Then everything just falls apart, and that little burp was disgusting. Wow. Good job, Bi-Han. Remind me to never call this guy weak again. Now his next fatality is just crazy. Just watch. I don't even know how to begin to describe that. So first their face is pulled off, then their brain is slammed out, then to finish this, Sub-Zero freezes the remaining skull and smashes it. Holy guacamole. Now onto the Kameo Sub-Z, was a simpler fatality. This one is the classic head rip where he freezes the neck and pulls. This is a hard pose, feel free to screenshot. This Kameo also has a few brutalities that I'll use to segue into the next section. The first involves his ice blast that freezes over the enemy. From here you will punch the statue to pieces. W assist. The next brutality comes from the Kameo grab where Sub will freeze the opponent and slide right into their shins. This leaves their entire lower legs being destroyed. For added good measure, the rest of them is frozen. For the playable Bi-Han, the staple uppercut stays. The next brutality comes from the ice slide and it's my personal favorite. Just watch. The cherry on top is the terrified expression on the head. The ice ball brutality has the same ending, just instead of an ice explosion, Bi-Han chucks a snowball. It was nice of him to add blizzard weather to match the mood. The ice clone charge brutality seems glitchy as their upper half ragdolls down. The lower half acts like a cartoon character looking around before falling over. Reminds me of Buzz's fake death in Toy Story 2. A similar brutality is this one for deadly vapors, where the lower half is exploded. The top half is yet again confused. For those of you disappointed by no ice explosions yet, here's what you were waiting for. To conclude this, Sub-Zero's personality matches his work in the newest installment. We can now move on to the yap sessions this man has.
This is for Hanzo.
Scorpion was your enemy once.
He was my equal.
In this installment, Kuai Liang keeps his usual stern and professional demeanor. He really has no time for games, and is there to fight or die. Though he does have his soft moments, against a grieving Scorpion, Kuai Liang does not mock him and offer sympathy. When Joker hits him with the blueberry ice remark, Sub-Zero claims only Johnny Cage may use that and live. Against Noob Saibot, he wishes to save his brother instead of letting Bi-Han rot in the shadows. So yeah, Kuai Liang is not all ice and daggers. Even when he is sarcastic, it comes off as serious at the same time. Honestly, the one thing NetherRealm did right in this game was Sub-Zero's writing. They did this man right. He is perfect in this game.
You were never truly one of us.
Were Father here, he would disagree.
The same can be said for this Sub-Zero. NetherRealm fully pushed into the idea that Bi-Han is an edgy drama queen. They amped up his angst to the max here. Honestly, it works and adds a new value of entertainment to the story. It is funny to see how mean this guy can be to his own brothers, let alone allies or enemies. Though under the coldness, there is a very thin line of kindness. He does care for his brothers and feels genuinely hurt when they defected to form the Shirai Ryu. He also wishes to fix the bond, but only time will tell on whether or not this will happen.
Sub-Zero wins. Sub-Zero wins.
Being the rival of the infamous Scorpion, it makes sense Sub-Zero enjoys some of that reflected glory. With the newest installment bringing back the original Sub-Zero, it brings in more love for this ninja. It was nothing but praise, especially when the beta for MK1 released. Everybody flocked to main this man and they were cheesing every possible maneuver and combo. If you were hit by an enhanced deadly vapor move, it was over. Prepare to lose half your health. But then the first nerf hit. This nerf wasn't too bad as it just balanced Sub-Zero out. Sure, it made him a little less meta, but he was still a good counter against a Raiden plus Serena combo. But with the release of the first DLC, Sub-Z caught a stray. Now he was nerfed so much that just playing him online was a way to instantly ruin your win-loss ratio. Every Sub-Zero main was up in arms. Just playing their favorite character gave them an automatic challenge. It was rough to see this. I was a happy Johnny Cage man and I felt for my sub brothers. Nowadays he might have gotten a secret buff as my combos seem to be doing good damage, though there were moments where I felt like I was flicking cold water on my opponent. So yeah, that's the most recent reception of this infamous Cryomancer. This all leads into the big question. The big question that can be seen as the point of these videos, who is superior? Felt fancy there, but who is honestly better? Angsty, so much edge that you might cut yourself Bi-Han, or the tame, wise Kuai Liang? I'm gonna go with MK1's Sub-Zero. Do not get me wrong, Kuai Liang as Sub-Zero is borderline perfect. His relationship with Scorpion and the other characters is something great to see, but there's just something about seeing Bi-Han be Sub-Zero again that is so entertaining. Since I never really played Mortal Kombat before 11, I was used to the little brother taking up the role. This new version is refreshing and I'm excited to see what they do with it. It does leave leave the question of who will be Noob Saibot. I tried answering this with a short, but there's still a lot of questions to be asked. With that, we have finished this comparison. The next comparison will be Kung Lao, so stay tuned for that. I finally have MKXL, meaning I can compare some DLCs and compare characters that don't show up in 11. Let me know your thoughts down below. Shout out to the loyal channel members and feel free to join. It helps support the channel, you can always cancel. Thanks for the recent support, and until next time, this has been Duke, so stay safe and goodbye. Due to their loyalty to Chronica, they are determined to kill the Sub-Zero. Is that a Sub-Zero? There are these unique Shredder looking skins which look nice and intimidating. Shredder looking skins. Since Sub-Zero, this flying axe Mew, if anything I'd expect this from a Johnny.